is Donna from Faded and Forgotten History. Today we're in Anderson County, South Carolina at Long Branch School. We're going to be meeting with Mr. Charles and Miss Daryl and let them tell us about their memories of going to school here when they were growing up. So thanks for joining us on this journey.
This was the 5th and 6th grade when I was here, and I just assumed it was always like this. And it was a big stove right here, and the pipe went up and hung from those wires and went across and into the chimney, into the chimney, and the chimney's in the middle. But I don't know how the pipes got to it, but the great big old pot-bellied stove was right there. And we had a lot of classes around the stove in the wintertime, didn't you, Daryl? I said we had a lot of classes around the stove in the wintertime. They bring the desk up and just line up around the stove and have classes around the stove.
Now, did y'all bring the wood in? Did y'all bring the wood in?
We burned coal the whole time.
Coal. Okay, so it's coal burning.
Yeah, we worked.
Yeah, I know y'all did. Yeah.
You had to be a teacher's pet to get to go fill the coal bucket. Leave class and go fill the coal bucket up and come back in. You had to be a teacher's pet. The old floor, somebody, I guess, thought to keep down the dust. They came out here with burnt oil and poured burnt oil all over the floors and mopped it in. And when you come out here barefooted and old splinters, if you stuck one of those burnt oil splinters in your foot, you knew it. It was I don't know why they thought they needed that burnt oil on the floor, but I guess to keep down dust.
So did it have a smell to it?
Say again?
Did it have a smell to it?
Yeah.
Or you just got used to it?
Yeah. You could smell it. There've been a lot of changes made to this, and Daryl maybe remembers it different. But when I was out here, there was a wall. It came out right over here. And went over and went back. Same thing on the other side. And there were floodlights down under here. There were light bulbs across here. And this was a stage. And they had big old curtains on each side.
We had curtains across here too.
Yeah, the curtains opened and closed, and then they had a big roll that they let a roll down, and on that roll, do you remember the names? One of them was Shirley Store.
Yeah, that's one was right there, was the brother one.
The roll was right here, and the curtains came up to the side, yeah.
So it's like an advertisement?
Advertisement, and one of them, and I don't remember what name they used, was the Gin. They used the Gin, and then Shirley Store was the name of one of the signs, and they had advertisement painted on that big roll, and it stayed here for a long, long time. Would give anything to have that roll.
Yeah. I wonder where it's at or what happened to it.
And they would have little community shows or plays. And one of the people in one of the groups that came here at one time was Ralph Smith, but not Ralph Smith, Ralph Smith's brother, Brother Ralph, and the Aristocratic Pigs. That was the name of their, and they, they came out here, and I was just a little bitty person, but they used to have little community deals that once in a while you could come out here and pay a little bit of money and listen to the band or music or whatever. But I do remember the Aristocratic Pigs was the name, and they would tell old jokes, and I guess the same jokes they told everywhere, but they would pick out some people in the community or somebody they would knew, and they would use his name in the joke, and everybody thought that was the funniest thing. It was. Yeah.
So did y'all have your desk out here?
This whole area was covered with desks.
Okay.
This room.
And what grade was this?
This was the outline of where the windows
Fifth and sixth.
windows from here up to there.
Okay.
Big, huge windows. All the way around. I do remember a piano sitting right here. Now that you said that, I remember a piano sitting right there.
And let's see, fourth and fifth grades were right in here, and sixth grade was over there in that area.
So all in the same room.
And the stove was right over there.
Okay.
There's
And the younger grades were back here behind the stage? Okay.
This was the fifth and sixth. And this was considered, we always call it the cloak room. You brought your lunches in here and put your lunches on the shelf in here, and hung your coats up in the wintertime if you wanted to take them off. And I do remember this fountain that was right here. At one time, there was a fountain there where you could get water while you were on the inside. But they call this the cloak room.
Okay.
And there was a cloak room on each side. And you see how big, that's how big those windows were.
Yeah.
And they were all the way around.
Now, did they prepare your lunch here? Did they ever prepare your lunch, make your lunch?
Daryl can make a comment on that. They did not when I was here. They stopped it a year or 2 years before I started the school here. Do you remember the little lunches, Daryl?
Well, I remember when we brought our lunch and put them on these shelves. But then we had lunch, and the lunchroom was over on the other side of the room, just like this. And but the mothers had to volunteer to cook, do the cooking, see. But I reckon the government.
Now this was after, wasn't this right after World War II, Daryl? Was it that late? I'm trying to hook a time to it.
Well, World War II, I was
About 45 to 46, somewhere along there.
I guess so.
I was just trying to put a date to it because I remember when I came out here, they had quit serving lunches, but they had all the big old pans and U.S. Army stamped on everything. You know, the big cook pots and they had a few. They came out and gave some commodities.
Yeah, I remember them doing that.
And it'd be a big old can this big around, and this gallon cans and a white label on it. It wouldn't say anything but peanut butter or peaches.
Yeah.
And they would. When they quit serving lunches, they gave those things to the different families that needed them real bad.
Well, sometimes they'd give them out at school, because I remember Googly McMahon opening a can of milk and turning it up and drinking. And of course, he'd do all kinds of things. Crazy.
This was the first and second grade back here. And they were in the doors here. I always kept the doors closed, and there was a wall. There was a little partition, a little wall right here. The church took the wall out so there'd be enough room to play basketball back here. But and all this whole back was just great big huge windows in it to made it real bright in here.
So there were 2 rooms.
There weren't windows on the ends, but there were windows all the way across the back.
And this was 2 rooms, and what grades were in those?
First and second was here, and third and fourth were over here.
Okay.
Well, here's the tables that we sat at when we were little. See, that's where you put your books. And then
Now
here's
that was the first and second. See how short it is?
Yeah.
That was in the.
Well, I remember when over on that end was.
And then these were in the other classrooms. They put their books in there, and then later on they had individual individual little
Desk.
desk.
If I'd have known these were up here,
Huh?
I would have liked to have had one at my house.
Well, they got rid of a lot of stuff up here, Daryl. I always wanted one of those seats, and they got rid of all the old school desks.
So there's two
stage
stoves,
doors.
there's two flues right here, so one stove for one room and one for the other.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
You had two stoves back
The
here.
big windows, because Joyce Howell lived in that house right down there where that brick house is now. And she got locked up in the school one day. She didn't realize they was closing up, so, and she had to climb out the window to get out of here and go home. They were up high. I mean, they came on down further, but somehow she got out of this room, got home.
All the lights that I ever remember were just a big old light hanging down from the ceiling like that. Now this wiring around the side, we put all that in there when they were using for a playground, but that's really all the electrical lighting I remember out here was just one or two big lights hung down from the ceiling, big old bulbs that big around them.
That's the plays in here, isn't it?
This was the bathroom, huh?
Well, there used to be the older men that could carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
They would help each other and volunteer and all.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would
Wonder if
volunteer.
these
to
are
get on
original
the
people.
building.
I don't know. Do you think this was one of the pianos that sat over there?
Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
had two. We had one in that big room.
I remember the one sitting over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you said this was the kitchen where they prepared the food? Okay.
This was the kitchen.
All right.
And the mothers took day about a week about or something doing the cooking.
Originally, I don't think it was intended as a kitchen, but when there was a school lunch program or something started, this was what they called the kitchen. And
Yeah.
This is where they had.
There's one of the lights.
I don't know why somebody didn't throw all this stuff. There's something in there.
Now, that's the bathroom, but was that here when y'all were there? When y'all were here?
No.
No?
No, that was.
He used the outhouse.
That was.
Okay.
Girls and the
Yeah,
boys.
I saw the
Is that
outhouse out there.
outhouse over here, the one that's over here to the right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the boys was over there and the girls was over
Okay.
Okay. So two different outhouses.
there.
Now, what was that room back there used for? Was that there?
That was considered another cloakroom.
Mm-hmm.
And Daryl, if you remember further back than this, somehow, and I think they tied it in with the PTA program, and they let people come out, and the shelves are still in here, and they sold moon pies and popcorn in a little bag, potato chips, and they had crackers, peanut butter crackers. They had about 3 or 4 little things, and if you were the teacher's pet, usually one of the girls that was up on their math and arithmetic, they would let them come into the cloakroom, and they had a little deal that they would put across the door here, and you could come up and tell them what you wanted, and they'd get you crackers or whatever, and you'd pay them a nickel or whatever.
There's some writing in here on the wall. See if you recognize any names over here. Looks like maybe with chalk.
No, I don't.
Somebody Bryant up there. There's a HW down there, or AW.
I don't recognize anything, but this was, and they kept the Moon pies. They had to keep the moon pies locked up. They had to keep them in a box, I guess, to keep the rats out of them.
Pretty little room.
Big curtains, you know, you couldn't see any big curtains that went across here. Up to, well, you could pull the curtains all the way across. And then they had a big roll deal that would roll down in the middle. You didn't have to pull the curtain, you just let the roll down between the people up there to take a break. Remember hearing the school bell ring up here? Do you ever remember hearing the school bell ring?
Yeah, they had a little big one.
No, they used to be a big bell up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
And I started at 5. My mama started teaching. I had to be somewhere. So I started at 5.
she just brought you to school to get rid of you. Yeah.
More kids, and more money that they probably got.
I guess they had it worked out that way. I would really be guessing. They would probably be 25.
Per
20,
class?
they would probably be 25 per room.
Per room.
Don't you guess, Daryl? They would,
Well, I don't know.
in two grades.
Yeah, probably with 2 grades, yeah. Because see, I remember the 6th grade sat here, and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade sat over in these areas. And, you know.
That was when they just had 2 teachers. They just had 2 teachers in.
Yeah, and I can think of so many people that's grown now that went to school here, and that they would walk to school. Because sometimes I'd go home with a girl after and spend the night with them from school, and we would have to walk home. And I wasn't used to walking home because the teacher came by our house right up the road, and she stopped and would pick up the children on her way to up here. And she had a brand new Pontiac, and her husband was in service. And I thought, gosh, she's getting all these little school kids in this car. But she'd stop, we'd just be crowded in her car.
Yeah.
Coming up the road, because she lived down on that road, Little Kudsley Road, somewhere down in there.
So not too far away.
Oh, no, she was in Emerson before she married. She was Ruby Emerson.
There's Emerson Bridge Road, yeah.
John Mouchet, and he was in service at that time. And she stayed with her parents then. And she taught school here. And,
So how far away were you?
no, because I lived on 413.
Okay.
And, yeah, she.
Did you walk to school pretty much every day? Did you walk to school?
No, I
most
lived
of
with
the
Miss
time?
Ruby.
Okay.
And all of us did. She started picking up Lois and Joyce and Jimmy Wilson. And then she came on up the road.
And a lot of the teachers did that. As they were going away to school, they would just stop, and everybody that could get in their old car or get on the running board. I've heard folks talk about they would always have to ride the running board because the car would be full when Miss Edith Drake was down at.
She was at Wright
She didn't
too.
teach but 1 year ago, I believe, Miss Edith. Miss Bessie Shirley taught here, and she just lived right over there, you know, from the crossroads. And Virginia Tilley, but she was from in town, but she boarded with Dr. Milford knows. And
This
and then
didn't.
Iris Pruitt that lived there on River Street. And
This didn't happen here, but I've heard talk about it and laugh about it at the store. This happened at Ebenezer, that one of the real rough and rowdy characters they had down there, and he got in trouble with the teacher, and she was going to give him a paddling, and "You're not whipping me, you're not paddling me," and he ran out the door, and she ran out after him with the paddle and was going to paddle him. Well, that fence right behind the school, there was a barbed wire fence, and he ran out there and went over the barbed wire fence and said, "You can't catch me now." And the way I heard the story, he said he knew he was in trouble when she reached down and got her dress and pulled it up between her legs. And said when she went across that barbed wire fence, said she cleared it by 2 feet and said she did catch him in that cotton field out there. Hey, me. And I think you were asking about the line. I think back this way, we lived near everything on this side of Hencook Creek came up the road, and everything on the other side of Hencook Creek went the other direction. Because I remember the Wilsons lived at one time in a big old house on the right-hand side of the road before you get to Hencook Creek.
Yeah, Hoyt Wilson and
They lived there, and they came up here.
There wasn't any car drop off where the kids drop off with cars where they like you see at schools now.
No, not very much. Very.
Now there wasn't any buses, were there?
No, at that time, then there was buses. Yes.
yeah, when I started to school
There
in
was.
Babington in the 7th grade, I rode, now what was that man's name? He was Mr. Tribble.
There was a Tribble at one time drove a bus.
Yeah, that was him, and it was a homemade bus. We called it a chicken coop. And it had a long beach over this way and a long one over here, and one in the middle. Their Anderson made two. One this facing this way, and then over here and face that one. Yeah, Prince Tribble, I think was his name.
I was always afraid to ride the school buses because the older kids were so rough. And we only lived a half a mile here, and I could walk through the field almost as quick as I could walk out to the driveway, and I could be unless it was really raining, I just walked to school, back and forth to school every day, because you didn't have to wait on the bus. If you left here, I could be home a lot of days before the bus would ever get here.
But when they started closed this school and the children went down to Wright School, well, Charles's brother, Dexter, younger brother, was stood up in front of his house, and got on a bus. Well, he didn't even go to Wright School. He ended up in Belton at the elementary school. And they was taking the children's names and got to him. He said, "Well, no need of giving you my name because I'm in the wrong school." Anyway, it was a good school for us. Yep.
So how does it make y'all feel coming back in here this many years later?
Yeah.
Does that make you kind of sad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember how you could leave the doors open. Everything was safe, you know. There was nothing, no.
Makes you feel 50 years younger till somebody asks you the dates.
Yeah.
Doors in there, you just go down the side, and that's where they carried all of the coal cinders. You carried the coal cinders out there and dumped them in a ditch, and that was kind of the drainage. The coal cinders act like gravel, and that was the drainage for the boys. It is metal, but it is not a metal roof. You've heard people talk about a tin roof. Tin doesn't exist anymore, but that is a tin roof. Tin had a certain amount of lead? Tin had a certain amount of lead and zinc in it, and tin it oxidizes, but it doesn't really rust. The metal roofs that you see on buildings now is steel, painted. anyway, then when the RAs wanted a little bigger field, I think they moved home base and the batting area to the other end of the field, and this was the outfield.
Okay.
But when we were here, this was home base right there.
All right, so tell me how it worked again.
The pipe came up the side, and then an 1.5 inch pipe or 2 inch ran down the middle. And there were holes drilled about every 12 inches. There were holes, so when you turn the water on here, water came up out of every one of these little holes. And this is where the kid stood up here, came up on this end and stood up on here, and then bent over and got their water.
So a lot could get water at the same time.
Well, everybody wanted to get a drink of water after recess was over. So everybody, when the bell rang, everybody ran up here, to get water before they go back in.
We need those nowadays.
But then when I was here, well, this was the drain. The water ran down here and it drained out there into a French drain or gravel pit, whatever.